Hello, Elly here from Thankful Flow Yoga. Thank you for joining me for another practice. Today we are going to be doing a kind of Vinyasa power flow where we're going to be working towards kind of peak pose of sort of hand to big toe pose. So recommend having a strap today. If you know that you have that pose in your practice and you don't work with a strap, that's absolutely fine, but I would recommend having that strap to hand if you need it, and I'll prompt where you could be using it throughout the class, as always having blocks, props, anything that you need. So we will come and start in our comfortable seated position. Bring the fingertips to the ground if you can today, or to blocks. We're going to close down the eyes or take a steady gaze out in front. And start to connect to your breath. Noticing how that breath feels as it travels in and out of the body. And start to imagine that as you inhale, you're going to be drawing energy up through the hands from the ground, all the way up to your heart center. On your exhale, I want you to release that energy back down to the ground. So slow and soft breaths as you do this. Inhaling, drawing the energy up from the ground, all the way up to your heart. Exhaling, releasing that energy all the way back down to the ground. You can imagine this as a beam of light, if that feels good for you. Or you can stay focused on the breath, just inhaling and exhaling. On the inhale, we draw the energy up to the heart. Exhale, we slowly ground that energy all the way back down through the arms, the hands, the fingertips into the earth. Taking your last grounding breath here. Noticing that energy rise and fall. Seeing if you can feel or sense a connection to the earth, to being grounded, to your foundations. Doesn't matter if you can't, we're just observing the mind, the body, and the breath in this practice. Opening the eyes back up now if you have them closed. Bring the hands together and just rub the palms of the hands together, creating a little bit of friction here, a little bit of energy. And then we're going to take the legs out in front. And this is where you might like to use your strap today. So sometimes a really nice way to practice with Paschimottanasana is to bring your strap, and if you don't have a strap, you could use a dressing down tie instead. And you're going to bring it around the balls of the feet and slide the hands back so that you're starting in a neutral spine. If there's a little bit of bend in the legs, just know that that's okay. You don't have to lock them straight. So stay with a neutral spine to begin with. You're inhaling here, and then as you exhale, you start to come forwards, leading with the chest, and you can use the strap as some resistance to help you keep that alignment, keeping that spine nice and long as you fold forwards. So giving your body time to come into this practice, to start to open up and release tension. Listening to the body, taking what you need in this class today, as always. Sending your breath into the backs of the legs, the lower back. And if you want to, of course, bring the strap away and the hands to the feet, then you absolutely can. Keep leading with the chest bone. Not rounding the spine here. Keeping that spine long. Last breath here. Inhale, slowly lift the chest away, come back to neutral. Bend the legs, lift the feet away, find your Navasana boat pose. So we're going to flow with our Navasana boat pose today. So really important that we want to keep lots of strength and activation through our core and keeping that nice space across the chest, okay? So from here, we're going to drop the feet down to the mat and open your arms out to the side. Sit the hips back, lift the legs away, draw the hands in. So flowing with your breath, inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling, keeping that root nice and strong. So the core's strong. Moving with your breath. Last one. Meeting in your boat pose. And now from here, you option to bring the hands to heart center, or you can use the hands to help you. We're going to see if this time when we tip forwards, we can come into a crouching position. So we're going to tip forwards. Can you lift the hips away from the mat? And then see if you can come up on the toes, crouching here. No worries if this didn't happen for you. Just come and meet us there. From here, we're going to exhale, lift the hips up, send the head down, coming into a forward fold. Keep as much softness as you need to in the legs. Start to take some gentle movement in the fold. Maybe there's a gentle sway from side to side. Keep releasing that tension through the head and bring the hands to the hips. Inhale, draw the belly button in towards the spine. Come up to standing, meeting in our Tadasana mountain pose. I want you to pause here for a moment today. You can close your eyes if that's comfortable and just notice how the ground feels beneath your feet. Notice how it feels to be stood in your own stillness. And in this practice, in our yoga practice, standing in stillness, coming into Tadasana and pausing there for a moment can often represent how we stand in the world. So notice your posture, notice how you're standing. Notice if this is comfortable for you or uncomfortable. And not so that you can judge any of this or label it as good or bad, just to be curious. Just interesting to notice and observe. Opening the eyes back up now if you have them closed. Inhale, sweep the fingertips up to the sky, lift your ribs away from your hips. Exhale, we float forwards, bend your legs as much as you need to. Inhale, lift the chest, lengthen the spine, halfway lift. Exhale, hands come down to the mat, step or jump back to plank. Work through your vinyasa, your chaturanga, inhaling through into upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale back to downward facing dog. Pressing the mat away with your hands, lifting the hips to the sky, reconnect with your breath. You can always come to a child's pose at any time in this practice. Inhale, send the gaze between the hands, step or jump the feet in, lift the chest, lengthen the spine, find your halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, bend the legs as much as you need to. Inhale, sweep the fingertips up to the sky. Exhale, bring the hands through to heart center. Coming into our next Seven Namaskar A. Inhale, reach the fingertips up to the sky. Row the spine tall. Exhale, float forwards, forward fold, bend the legs as much as you need to. Inhale, lift the chest, lengthen the spine, halfway lift. Exhale, bring the hands down to the mat, step or jump the feet back to plank. Float through your version of Chaturanga. Inhaling, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhaling back to your downward facing dog. Reconnecting with your breath, maybe taking a little pedal out through the legs this time. Feeling into the backs of the legs. Inhale, gaze comes between the hands. Step or jump the feet back in. Lift the chest, lengthen the spine. Halfway lift, crown of the head reaching towards the wall in front. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep the fingertips back up to the sky. Exhale, bring the hands through to heart center and Jali Mudra. Inhale, reach those fingertips back up to the sky, lifting up and out from the waist. Exhale, folding forwards, bend the legs as much as you need to. Inhale, lift your chest and lengthen the spine, halfway lift. Exhale, bring the hands down to the mat, step or jump back to plank, shoulders above the wrists. Inhale, work through into your upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, hips come to the sky, downward facing dog. Make sure that the fingers are nice and spread in your downward facing dog. Pressing the thumbs and the first finger into the mat. This is the strongest part of our hand. Inhale, step your right foot through between the hands. Reach the fingertips up to the sky, high lunge. Front knees above the ankle. Then we're going to start to circle the arms here, so moving with the breath. Inhaling, reaching them forwards. Exhaling, circling them around. Inhale, imagine that you're drawing energy up to the sky. Exhale, grounding it back down. Last one. Inhale, sweeping the arms up and around. Exhale, floating them back down. Start to draw the left heel down to the mat, opening out, finding your warrior two. Send your gaze over the right fingertips, strong arms, relaxed shoulders. Our core switched on, both legs switched on, pressing the feet down and away into the mat. Start to lengthen through your right leg. Inhale, reach forwards with the right fingertips, forwards, forwards, forwards. Start to tip at the waist, finding your Trikonasana. So this right hand could be coming to the inside of the right thigh, the calf, maybe the ground. Really important to keep the space across the chest here. Imagine that you're shooting energy through your left fingertips up to the sky, following with your gaze. Inhale, float back to your warrior two position. Now from here, you're going to bring the hands down to the hips to add in a little bit of a balance as we transition here. You're going to see if you can bring your weight into that front right leg. As you can see, I'm wobbling and shaking too. I'm not going to edit that out because I want you to see that I am human. So we're going to move into bringing that weight into the right leg. Don't worry if it didn't happen without putting the left leg down. That's okay. If you're working with a strap, you're going to grab your strap now. And then I'm going to move out the way of moving out the way of my beautiful plant here. So we're coming into our hands big toe pose. So bring your peace fingers around that left big toe. Really important is that we're keeping the spine long and the space across the chest. Then you start to lengthen through the left leg. Doesn't have to be straight. Be mindful if you're rounding the spine at all here. We want the spine to stay long. Breathing here. Right hand's just resting on that right hip. You could have the strap around the foot instead. That's a really lovely way to support in this posture. And now we're going to start to open this left leg out to the left side. So opening, externally rotating this left hip. And then option to see if you can send your gaze over to the right as you do this. No worries if you're falling in and out. That's all part of the practice. Make sure you stay with the breath. You can use a wall if you need to. And then we're going to see if with control, can you bring that left leg back out to the front? Can you take the left hand away, reach the fingertips up to the sky, use that strength in the left leg to hold it up? And then we're going to sweep it through with control. Come back to your high lunge. Beautiful. Bring the hands down to the mat. Step back to plank and Vinyasa. Inhaling, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhaling back to your downward facing dog. And breathe. Option to take a releasing breath here. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth. This time we're going to sweep the left foot through between the hands. Reach the fingertips up to the sky. Grow the spine tall. Start to take your circles now. So we inhale, lift that energy up. Exhale, ground that energy down. Inhale, lift the energy up. Exhale, ground that energy down. Don't worry if you're reducing the range of movement with the arms here. That's okay. Make this practice something that connects to you, that works for you and your body and where you're at today. Inhale, reaching up, last one. Exhale, circling round. Bring the hands through to heart center. Draw your right heel down to the mat. Open out to warrior two. Send your gaze over your left fingertips. Relax the shoulders. Start to lengthen through your left leg. Reach forwards with the left fingertips. Forwards, forwards, forwards. Tipping from the waist. We open out to Trikonasana. Shooting energy through your right fingertips up to the sky. Follow with your gaze. You can stay up higher if you need to. You can have this left hand on a block to support you here. Make sure to keep that right shoulder nice and open across the chest. Pressing the feet down and away into the mat. Inhale, float back to your warrior two. You can bring the hands in to stabilize. See if you can bring your weight into the left leg. Getting ready to come through, grabbing your strap if you need to. This time our peace fingers are coming to our big toe on the right foot. The right foot lengthens out in front, doesn't have to be straight. Breathing here, keep the spine long. Really important that we keep the spine long in this pose and that we don't round. If you're rounding, the best thing to do is to actually allow the leg to bend more. So it's better to have the leg bent but have your length in the spine than to have it straight and to be rounding here, if that makes sense. Open this right leg out to the side, left hand on the left hip. Seeing maybe if you're sending the gaze over that left shoulder. Breathing into any wobbles and shakes. It's okay if one side feels very different from the other. Opening here. Draw your right leg back into center. With control, reach the fingertips up to the sky. Keep your right leg held there, but away from the ground without the hand this time. See how much strength this uses. Now we're gonna bend the right leg, float it out behind, come back, find your high lunge. Bring the hands down to the mat, step back to plank, and Vinyasa. Inhaling, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhaling back to downward facing dog. Going to a child's pose here if you need to. Now from here, we're going to inhale, lift this right leg away, bend the right leg, tap the right knee to the right elbow, and then we're going to bring your right leg down to the mat, slide the left leg back, finding your pigeon. So if you've got space here and you need blocks and props to support you, using them, checking that your hips are nice and square. And then from here, we're going to exhale and fold forward. So folding over this right leg, surrendering. Closing the eyes if that feels good too. Roaming into this hip space, Svadhisthana, second chakra, our water element, our emotions. Noticing any sensations in the hips. No right or wrong. Keep sending your awareness to the breath and the body. Inhale, coming away from the fold. I'm going to give you an add-on here, which you don't have to take, so only take it if it feels right for you. So we're going to bend in this left leg, and it might be that you're bringing your left hand to the left leg, and this is where you're at right now, and you're maybe working here. If this feels too much at all at any time, do not take it. You can stay with your pigeon in the fold and work there. Maybe you're working on your dancer pose, your mermaid. So seeing if you're hooking this left foot into the crease of your left elbow, the arms are coming up and around and you're interlacing the fingers here. So if you're in your mermaid, taking your breaths here, maybe you're in your pigeon folded over. Releasing from your mermaid, bring the hands back down to the mat, tuck the left toes under, float back to your downward facing dog. Or you can take a child's pose, lifting the hips to the sky, reconnecting to the breath, reconnecting with this life force energy, your prana. This time we're bringing the left leg away, left knee draws in, tap the left knee to the left elbow. With control, bring that left leg down, slide the right leg back, finding that pigeon pose. Taking any blocks under the hips. If you've got a lot of space here between the mat and your body, then you can fill that space in with props to support you. So blocks, cushions, blankets, bolster. So you can get creative to support your body in this practice, in these poses. Hips are square. Exhale, start to fold forwards over that front leg. Surrendering, letting go. Sending your breath into the left hip space. Inhale, start to come away from the fold. Or if you know that you're not going to take the mermaid option, you want to stay in the fold, you're going to work there now. You're taking your mermaid, this right leg's bending in. You can probably see me better now on this side. So it could be that you're working somewhere here. So you're working towards mermaid, but it could be that here is what's right for you. Or you're going to be hooking that right foot into the crease of your right elbow, and then you're bringing this left arm around, finding the interlace with the fingers. But like I said, be mindful of the knee joint, the hips, the spine. Check in with your body and take options that are right for you. If you're working with your reverse grip and you want to take that, you can absolutely take that now. Finding your breath again, bringing that focus back to the breath, using it as an anchor, an access point to our nervous system. Breath is such a powerful, powerful tool that we all have within us that we can all access. Releasing now. If you come into your mermaid position, bring the hands back down to the mat, tuck your right toe under, float your way back to downward facing dog, lifting the hips to the sky. From here, we're going to send the gaze between the hands, but drop your knees down to the mat. And then exhale, send the hips down towards the heels, meeting in a child's pose. Melting your forehead, your heart down towards the earth. Make sure that your forehead is connected to something here, so we can connect to that energy center in the forehead, the third eye. Let the head become heavy. You can rest it on a block, you can rest it on your hands, cushion. Start to breathe into the back body, the sides. I'm going to slowly walk the hands back into center, coming away from the child's pose and coming back to that comfortable seated position on the mat. If you have time to stay in a meditation or a shavasana for longer here, then I really recommend that you do so. Thank you so much for joining me for this class. Please do make sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And do comment and feedback to me. Let me know how you're getting on. The link below in the description to everything else that I offer and other ways to keep in touch. And I can't wait to see you again for another practice.